All right, welcome to our Spelling Netcast. Make sure you're prepared with your zip top bag, your scissors for cutting, your pencil, a beautiful glue stick if you're needing it, your spelling notebook, and of course, your words. All right, let's get to cutting these babies out. All right, so we take our words and let's just get these things cut out. Remember, as you're cutting these out, leave this top because you're going to need it. All right. And what I'm going to have you do this time, it's going to be a little bit different, is when you cut this out, get your things off on the side, but I'm going to have you cut this top off like we usually do. And I'm going to have you get that ready so we can glue that on. But this time, I'm only going to have you cut out these exemplars, but I want you to leave them connected at the very beginning. All right? So we won't worry about those until after we write everything down. Get your words here. Get them cut up. And what I like doing is getting all three of those columns cut so that I can just chop away on this. That way I can throw them down and get them ready. That way I've got them all in stacks so that I'm ready to go. All right, now let's glue our exemplar paper in by gluing all the way across and sticking that up at the top. Because we're going to talk Latin roots today. Judlegmodbiblio. Bingo was his name-o. Biblio was his name-o. So, we're going to go down just a little bit and we're going to start writing these exemplars in. We've got J-U-D-L-E-G. Now, you'll notice that there's two. It's because L-E-G has two meanings to it. So we're going to do that. L-E-G-M-O-D. Let's do that correctly. And Biblio. Biblio. And I think you can look at that and kind of guess what that's kind of going to be like. But now, after I've got that, now let's chop these up. That will give you a good idea on how far to space those across. All right? All right. So, what we've got here is we've got a J-U-D, we've got an L-E-G, two L-E-Gs, and we got an M-O-D and a B-I-B-L-I-O. And bingo was his name-o. All right. So, let's start here. We're going to start out with J-U-D. Now, J-U-D means to judge. See how it's got the J-U-D in there? So J-U-D means to judge. So when we look through our words, let's find out what we got here that we might, oh, there's a good one right there. Okay, so we've got prejudice, prejudice. So let's write it. Oops, I got to make sure I'm spelling these right. J-U-D-I-C-E. We're going to underline J-U-D. So we got J-U-D means to judge. What does P-R-E mean? It means before. So before judging. So prejudice literally means to judge before, or people who are prejudiced have already judged another person or idea before they've known anything about them. So that's prejudice. All right? Our next word we're going to look at for judge is, of course, we've got, let me see. Oh, I can't find the word. I can't find the word. Where's my word? We could do that one, but I'm not going to worry about that one. There was another one in here. Oh, nope, that's not it. Where is it? Got to make sure all my words are out here. We got that. Ooh. There's some good ones in there. Wow, I seem to have lost my adjudicate. Where is that one at? I bet you it's hiding under one of these. Oh, I bet you it's under legend. Of course, there it is. Adjudicate. 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 So we're going to underline Jude, J-U-D. Now, adjudicate, when a judge adjudicates a case, she hears and settles the case. So adjudicate means to judge, to hear and to settle a case. Literally, it means to judge to or toward. This word right here, add, I'm going to circle those, means to or toward. Toward judging. Interesting, interesting. So we got adjudicate. So our next one we're going to look at is leg. Now there's two different meanings to leg. One means law. The other one means to read. Interesting. So if we look at legible, let's take out legible. Would legible mean law or to read? What does it mean, legible? If something is legible, that means one can read it. So legible means one can read it. Gathering or collecting information. Interesting, interesting. That means you can read it. Legible. Another one that I'm looking at is legend. Legend. Would that be a law? Or would that be to read? Where do you find legends? Legends you find in books. So we're going to put legend in here. And legend comes from the Latin root or Latin word that means something that is to be read. So that means it's a written story. Interesting, interesting. Legend is to be read. So let's get into law, privilege. If it's a privilege, it's a privilege to read, but that doesn't mean it's part of this. Privilege actually is part of a law here. So we're going to put in privilege, and we got the leg in here. Privilege contains actually two words. P-R-I-V, we're going to underline that, and that means single or alone. And so if it's a single law, that means it's private or private, like a single or alone. We'll put that on there. Private. Privilege means literally the law for an individual. That means something for one person. So it's a privilege. That means it's allowed for that person. How interesting is that one? Wow. Privilege. All right. So, there is those. What I want you to do is on these, I want you to figure out, do you think the word would be law or to read? You put them in here. We'll talk about them when you come back, when you bring those to school, and we'll talk about what each one of them means. If you get it wrong, that's okay. I'm not worried about it. We'll get them right so that you know what they mean. Our next word that we're going to do is M-O-D. M-O-D. And M-O-D means to measure. To measure. So mod, M-O-D. Ooh, let's look at this one first. Mode, M-O-D-E. Don't we use measuring in math? Mode. Mode means manner or style of measuring. It's a style of measuring. So remember what mode means. Look in your reference sheet to find out what a mode is. Okay? But it's a style of measuring. So that's mode. Our next word we're going to look at is moderate. To moderate means to measure within limits. So when one is a moderate eater, that means they eat within limits. If we do something in moderation, we put limits on it. So that is moderate. All right, moderate. That's an interesting one. There's a couple other ones now that I think is interesting on modern. How about, let's do another one. Let's do modern. Modern is in a certain manner or a manner to measure now. It's a certain manner now. Okay? We're going to put up here also manner. Because it's in a manner of doing things. Manner of doing things. It's a manner of doing things now. Modern is now. Okay? All right. And our last one that we're going to look at is Biblio. Biblio. What does that look like? What are you thinking when you say Biblio? You're thinking what? Bibliography? Of course you are. Actually, I don't think many of you have thought of bibliography. There might be a couple of you that did. But biblio means book. What I think you could have been thinking is Bible. And if you were thinking Bible, that means book. So the Bible means book. And so a bibliography is a list of books. A written list of books. So we've got one other one here I want you to look at. And this one's an interesting word. It's called bibliophile. Bibliophile. There's biblio. That means a book. Phile is interesting. That means to love. Love. Bibliophile means to love or have a preference for. So if you are a bibliophile, that means you love books. Wow, that's kind of interesting. Another word that I'm just going to write it up here. You can. It's called Philadelphia. Philadelphia, because we got file. Phila, that means love, and the rest of this means city, so we've got the city of love. So Philadelphia is the city of brotherly love. Isn't that interesting? But one other word I'm going to put down here, it's not on your list, but I'm going to put it, and I want you to write it also. Biblioteca. And if you speak Spanish, you know that biblio is book and teca is a place you put it. So we're going to call this a library. That is a library. A biblioteca is a library. All right. So what we're doing here is we're looking at these Latin roots, J-U-D-L-E-G-M-O-D, B-I-B-L-I-O, biblio. And I want you to finish these out, put all the J-U-Ds, the L-E-G, remember, if it applies to law, put it down here. If it applies to reading, put it down here. Do your best on that. You don't have to get them perfect, but do the best you can. Mod is to measure or manner. Try to think of how those fit in. And book, put them down there. All right? Make sure you get those all done. Put them in. And we'll see what happens. And we'll talk about this a little bit later when you get back. All right? All right. So make sure now that you say the word, read the word, write the word. Now, when you write it, please spell it correctly, all right? And complete the sort. Have fun doing it. Okay, good luck.